Oh, hey. So yesterday I realized that I was at the risk of missing a very real movie reviewing opportunity. Now, I already did my Movie Monday for yesterday, which you might not have seen because it took forever to process, so here it is. But it wasn't until after I uploaded this review that I realized that I could use this as an opportunity to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the release of my all-time favorite movie. What movie is that, you ask? Why do you think I'm wearing this shirt today?
Remember,
You're a wizard.
on second thought, let's not
You're to dig one hole in
Still princesses.
time travel, as you wish.
Haven't invented any time machine.
Okay, all right, I'll prove it to you. Look at my driver's license. Expires 1987. Look at my birthday, for crying out loud. I haven't even been born yet. And look at this picture. It's my brother, my sister, and me. Look at her sweatshirt, Doc. Class of 1984.
Yes, for those of you that didn't know already, Back to the Future is, in fact, my all-time favorite movie. Now, you might wonder about this, especially when you consider that two of the other movies in my top 5 are V for Vendetta and The Shawshank Redemption. I mean, obviously I love Back to the Future, who doesn't, but my all-time favorite movie? I mean, obviously it's a good movie, it's celebrating its 25th year of incredible popularity, but, I mean, let's be honest, there is a certain amount of 80s camp value in there. But don't forget this important thing about my taste in stories. I love time travel. I friggin' love it. And this series of movies is part of the reason why I love time travel stories so much. Back to the Future is the first movie that I remember seeing that is really and truly a time travel story. Up until then, I'd followed the adventures of Calvin and Hobbes in their cardboard box traveling back in time to the dinosaurs. But this is the first movie I watched that really made time travel seem plausible. If you're unfamiliar with the story, it follows a young teenager named Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox. He's a typical 80s teenager who's tired of living with his lame parents and one day gets a call from his friend, Dr. Emmett Brown, played by Christopher Lloyd. It turns out that he has, in fact, invented a time machine. And it isn't long before Marty McFly is accidentally flung back 30 years into the past to the year 1955. Soon enough, he runs into his 17-year-old parents, and he interferes with their first meeting, and therefore, his own existence is in jeopardy. So working together with the Dr. Emmett Brown from 1955, he must find a way to get his parents to meet and to get himself back to the future. Now, I think one of the main reasons why I feel such an attachment to this story is that I found it entirely on my own. The movie wasn't recommended to me, I didn't know about its popularity, I just happened to see a movie called Back to the Future in the library one day when I was 11 years old, and I thought, that sounds interesting. And I soon found out that not only was this a movie about time travel, but it was also, because it was made before the PG-13 rating, a PG movie that contained more than the usual amount of swearing. I was basically in love. Like most good time travel stories, Back to the Future makes the idea that we can develop the ability to travel through time completely plausible while not making the story completely about the technology that makes this possible. What's interesting about the first movie is not the fact that Marty McFly is traveling through time, it's the fact that he is getting to see his parents as they were as kids, which was really a completely original concept at the time. In fact, one of the things that I love about these movies is that they're not based on a book or a TV show or a movie or anything. It's completely the brainchild of Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Now, so far I've only talked about the first part of the trilogy, and you're probably wondering what I thought of the second two parts. Well, I tend to agree with the common consensus that Part 2 was not as good as Part 1. But I still really love Back to the Future Part 2. Why? Because it contains 3 of my all-time favorite aspects of time travel. Going to the future, creating an alternate timeline, and re-watching past events from a different perspective.
Talk about deja vu.
This movie also starts us on a story arc that is continued in Part 3. Reviews of Part 3 tend to be mixed. Some people say that it's the best movie of the trilogy, and some people say that it's still not as good as Part 1. I tend to side with the former argument. I think that it's at least as good as the first part. It's got that same sense of adventure and tension, and the focus of Part 3 is more on human development rather on winning and getting the girl, which is kind of the focus of Part 1. And it also does a great job of bringing the entire story arc and the entire development of all of these characters to a nice conclusion. But the reason that I love the entire trilogy as a whole is because you get to see how things change over time. Not just the people, although you do get to see how the people change over time as well, and that's also fascinating to watch.
I'll hunt you and shoot you down like a duck.
It's dog, Buford. Shoot him down like a dog.
But also the town of Hill Valley itself. You get to see 5 different versions of this town. And so you get to watch how it evolves over time and what things change and what things stay the same. Hill Valley is, in and of itself, its own character in the story. And I love stories that watch the evolution of something over a long period of time, and in this case we get to see Hill Valley over the evolution of 130 years. And everything is so incredibly detailed. There is a lot of stuff to find that is related to time travel and related to Hill Valley and these characters. I've seen these movies probably about 20 times by now, and every time I watch them I still find something that I didn't notice before. These are things that are not integral to the plot, and they're not always obvious. In fact, they're hardly ever obvious. But when you do find them, they are so much fun. There is so much more that I could talk about with these movies. I just love everything about them. I love the concepts, I love the characters, the time travel, the setting, the themes discussed. I just love everything about these movies. And if by chance there is any truth to the rumors that they are remaking Back to the Future, I have just this to say. Don't mess with a good thing, guys. See you Thursday. And there's a train. Awesome sauce. There's a train while I'm talking about Back to the Future. There's a train. Watching.